Oh, behind the scenes commence. Alright, welcome to behind the scenes of Entangled. This first scene was taken from a map I found on Planet Minecraft. I'll link it in the description. All of the striders and city scanners I modeled, textured, and animated myself, although I can't rig, so the animating part was hard, to say the least. On this balcony, there's a particle system, and the particles don't have any velocity or gravity, but this field acts as a slight wind, so they can move around a bit. I reused this technique several times throughout the animation. Also, this is what the scene looks like in the game. Okay, scene 2. These elevator doors are made from stripped acacia logs, scaled on the y-axis, and the UVs changed so it fits. Here's what this area looks like out of camera view, and here it is in the game. This cobblestone has specular set to 0.5 to make it look wet. Nothing to say about this cool alley, but here it is in the game. This elevator scene I recreated a while ago when Half-Life Alyx first came out, and this was a recreation of that from a different perspective. And here it is in game, one of my favorite scenes actually. I modeled this wreckage myself, and here it is in game. I had to stretch what actually happened in game here for the sake of making decent looking animation. In the game you just duck under the top door, but there wasn't enough room to animate that, so I had both doors open. Russell's drone is slightly different from the rest. It has a green eye and a broken, wing? For the drone's laser, it scales up from its origin point here. Also, here's this area in-game. For Russell's lab, I had to change the environment texture to match the lighting in-game. Here it is, by the way. Hey, Russ. Oh, hey, look, it's Scout.
Chicken.
I edited this part of the map to have a table, Russell's computer, and the microphone. Gravity gloves were hard to recreate, but here they are in game, and here are mine in full detail. Literally made this entire car for this one shot, and it's barely noticeable in the background. Here it is in the game, if you even care. This scene was really lazy. I took this area from the Minecraft map I used in the last Half-Life animation, and if I had actually put effort into it, I would have had to make this. And yeah, I don't want to do that. This wasn't a specific scene from the game. I just wanted to show a cool shot of the Combine dominating the streets. So I did it in that same alleyway from before. This was the first set that I made from scratch, and here it is in game. This is a very cool looking set, even though it's so small. Same as before, I gave this ground texture some specular. This Vortigaunt was definitely the hardest thing to model in texture for this animation, because the models and the textures had to line up exactly, and it was even harder to animate because it's not rigged. But to make him blink, I just took 2 cubes, put them right in his eye socket, scaled them on the z-axis. Here is the hallway, door, and Vort in the game. This train station set was hard to make because of its size. This portal turret texture I made in A-Sprite. This was also in the game. For this Combine grunt getting shot, I have a particle emitter for the blood with object velocity at 0.5 and randomized set to 5. For this force field, I have a mix shader, mixing an emission node and transparent BSDF with blend mode set to alpha blend. This short scene was pretty much just filler. I didn't have an idea for anything else to put here. I just took the same door from the Vortigaunt scene and changed some stuff around. This scene looks really good in this lighting, but once I take that away, not so much anymore. When the Vort lifts Eli up to the platform, I surrounded him with 3 green point lights and 3 random pieces of debris. And here's the scene in the game. Sup, Eli. This is the set that I'm most proud of because it looks the most like the original, which is this. Also when the Combine wallhammer gets shot, I leave some extra red planes on the ground, simulate blood splatter. Not much else to say here, it's just my favorite scene. The map in this scene was taken from the same map as the first scene, and here it is in game. This scene is meant to be a flash forward to the end of the game, and the only reason I did that was to match the song. For these light streaks, I have a whole bunch of small stretched emission cubes along the y-axis that have 2 linear keyframes at the start and end of the scene. Each character here is lit with their own colors, Alyx with orange and white, and G-Man with green and white. Not much to say about the vault, but it was pretty hard to make. Here's the inside of it if you're curious. And it's not even that big compared to Alyx. You just have a forced perspective thing going on in the camera view. Here's a zoom out of the environment, and it's much smaller than it looks. Really proud of these things, whatever you could call them. And here it all is in the game. This is a really big scene. When the rocket gets fired, it emits particles out the back by turning the Z under object align to 100. When the rocket hit, the strider emits the same particles. Not only that, a cube with volume density scales up to look like smoke. The way I did this beam to the vault is I have another volume density cube scaled up, surrounding the whole set. And I have a spotlight with the strength set to 1 million. Yep, 1 million.
Wow.
Also, I animated all these cement cubes by hand. And here is this scene in the game. Yeah, I had to kill the Strider for this. Again, not much to say about this scene, but here it is in game. I noticed that if you look up, you can see the previous scene upside down. So that's cool. Okay, so now we're in the vault. This interior was actually simple-ish to do, despite the Combine always seeming to have complex architecture. These are the nodes I use for the glass on this door, but it tends to show the environment texture behind it, even though there's a wall. So if anyone knows how to fix it, let me know. But anyway, here's this room in the game. Now, if we go through this door, it will take us to the, what would you call this room? But yeah, this is the prison cell for G-Man. It looks really good from this angle, but if I turn to this angle, you can tell I tried. For the interior of the cell, I messed with some negative light. Now this isn't exactly how it looks in the game, but I thought it was cool enough to keep. The way I did this lightning, I just have a bunch of green emission cubes keyframed into position every couple frames, and then I reverse those keyframes. When this big energy pulse happens, this cube with the same material as the prison cell scales up. When Alex grabs these cables, they turn to bright green, and the way that's done is with a mix shader right here. When G-Man's prison cell opens up, these lights go from -70 to 50 strength. And the way it fades out, not only do the lights go down to 0, but the environment texture's strength also goes down to 0. That way the only light remaining was G-Man's eyes. And that's not what happens in the game, but I thought it was a good way to end it, and this shot looked amazing. Okay, these credits were recreated from the credits in the game with the same audio and everything. These rectangles that scale up start above the camera along with all the text and everything, then teleport down and scale on the x-axis. And then the text teleports down when it can fit within the rectangle so that it appears when it scales down. Now with this title card, I didn't make it fade in Blender. I had to do that in Premiere. I took this blank white frame and applied transitions to the sequence with the text on both sides so it fades in and fades out. To make the Y stay for a little bit longer, I duplicated the sequence that has the title and cropped it so it was only the Y. And I took the last frame from that sequence and extended it and then applied transitions later on. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, one more thing. Yeah. Thanks for watching.